My thought was that it would be just one night. A thrill. A mistake I could bury. But the way he touched me, the way he saw me, like my husband hadn't in years. It wasn't lust anymore. It was something terrifyingly real. And once it began, I couldn't stop. Because, deep down, a part of me didn't want to. I had everything a woman is supposed to want. A beautiful home, 2 healthy kids, a husband with a steady job. But inside, I was wilting. And the moment he looked at me like I was alive again, I didn't know if I wanted to run or fall right into it. My name is Lena Morgan. I'm 36 years old. I've been married to Gideon for 12 years. We live just outside Raleigh, North Carolina, in a quiet neighborhood with dogwood trees lining the sidewalks and kids riding their bikes after school. If you passed by our house, you'd probably think we were the perfect little family. You'd be wrong. Gideon was my college sweetheart. Sweet, stable, safe. When we first met, he made me laugh until I cried. He used to touch me like I was fragile and precious. But over the years, life wore us down. He works in software now. Long hours, always tired. His eyes are on his screen more than they are on me. We barely touched anymore. Our conversations were about bills, groceries, the kids' school schedules. Not about us. Never about us. And I stopped feeling seen. I didn't plan for anything to happen. But something inside me had been crumbling for a long time. All it needed was the right moment and the wrong person to fall apart. That moment came at a birthday party. It was a Friday night in June. One of Lauren's coworkers was turning 40, and she begged me to go with her. I didn't want to, but she insisted. "Come on, Lena," she said. "You need a break. You haven't had fun in months." She wasn't wrong. So I went. I wore a red dress that hadn't left my closet in over a year. Tight at the waist. Made me feel like maybe I still had something worth noticing. The party was loud, crowded, full of people I didn't know. I stood by the bar, sipping white wine and watching strangers dance. That's when I saw him. Tall, dark-skinned, broad shoulders in a black button-down. He had a smile that was confident but not arrogant, and eyes that didn't just look at me, they studied me. Like I mattered. He came over. Introduced himself. "Marcus," he said. "And you are?" "Lena," I replied. We talked. God, did we talk. About music, travel, books. Nothing deep, but it felt like air in my lungs again. He listened. He noticed. At one point, I laughed too loud at something he said. I felt it. The way his eyes lingered on my lips. The way my stomach twisted. That's when I knew. I was in trouble. Later that night, Lauren pulled me aside. "Who was that?" she asked. "Just a guy. We talked. That's all." She looked at me, really looked. "Lena," she said. "Be careful. You're vulnerable. I've seen it before." I've seen it. But that night, I went home to a sleeping house. Gideon snored softly in our bed. I lay next to him, staring at the ceiling, and thought of Marcus. His voice. His eyes. The way he made me feel like a woman again. In the days that followed, something shifted in me. I wore lipstick again. Took longer showers. Checked my phone more than I should, though I had no messages to look for. Until I did. A week after the party, I got a text. Unknown number. "It was nice meeting you, Lena. If you ever want to talk again, here's my number. No pressure. Marcus." I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. Then I took the trash out. Then I went back inside and typed it into my contacts. I told myself it was harmless. Just a little conversation. Just a little attention. Just someone reminding me I still existed. But even then, deep down, I knew. This was the beginning of something I couldn't control. That weekend, my mother stopped by. Susan Whitmore. Church-going, sharp-tongued, with a look that could cut through glass. She took one glance at me and narrowed her eyes. "You've changed your hair," she said. "No, irraplia." Just styled it differently. She didn't smile. "You've been distant lately. Is everything all right in your marriage?" I nearly dropped the mug I was holding. "Everything's fine, Mom." But she didn't believe me. She sat down and folded her hands in that way that meant judgment was coming. "Lena, you made vows. You've got children. Whatever you're going through, you need to remember what's at stake. I said nothing. She always knew when I was hiding something. And I was hiding everything. That night, I messaged Marcus.
Hey.
I wasn't sure if I should reach out, but I haven't stopped thinking about our conversation. He replied instantly. Neither have I. It wasn't planned. I didn't walk into that room thinking I'd betray my husband. But some nights, the ache is too loud, and the silence in your own home feels like a scream. I didn't go looking for it, but I didn't run from it either. Before we dive in, thank you to all my subscribers. Your support means everything. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. These stories are real, raw, and come from places most people won't admit they've been. Let's keep telling the truth. It started with a coffee. That's what I told myself when I agreed to meet Marcus.
Just coffee.
In the middle of the day. Just two adults talking like we did before. Just me, convincing myself I wasn't already playing with fire. We met at a small cafe near downtown Raleigh. Tucked away.
Quiet.
No chance of running into anyone I knew. When he saw me, his face lit up, not just a polite smile, but like he was actually happy to see me. Like I meant something. We sat.
Talked. Laughed.
And for a moment, I forgot I was someone's wife. I forgot I had a ring on my finger and 2 kids in school. I felt young, desirable, awake. I'm not trying to make things complicated, Marcus said after a long pause. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to see you again. I looked at him. My heart thudded in my chest. I'm married, I whispered. I know, he said. I'm not asking for anything, unless you want it too. That sentence hung in the air like smoke. I went home that night and tried to act normal. I kissed Gideon on the cheek, made spaghetti for dinner, helped Olivia with her math homework while Gideon scrolled his phone. Same as always. But my mind was somewhere else. It was with Marcus. The way he looked at me like I was worth noticing. The way he made me feel seen again. I didn't sleep that night. 3 days later, I made a decision. I told Gideon I was going to a girls' night at Lauren's house. He didn't ask questions. Just nodded and went back to work on his laptop. He didn't even look up. And that hurt more than anything else. Marcus picked me up at 7:30. His car smelled like pine and something masculine. He opened the door for me. I felt like a woman again, not just a mom, not just someone's wife. A woman. We didn't talk much on the drive. He brought me to a hotel. Not cheap, not sleazy, just quiet, discreet. I stood in front of the elevator with my heart pounding, fingers shaking. This is your call, Marcus said. We can just talk. We can go for a walk. Whatever you want. But I'd already made my choice. When the elevator doors closed, I looked up at him. I don't want to talk anymore. The room was dimly lit. He poured us both a glass of wine, but I barely touched mine. My hands were trembling. He stepped closer, reached out, softly, slowly, and tucked a piece of hair behind my ear. You're beautiful, he whispered. No one had said that to me in years. I don't remember who kissed who first. I just remember the feeling, like a dam breaking open inside me. All the years of being unseen, untouched, unimportant, they poured out of me like water. His hands were gentle, patient. His touch was fire and comfort all at once. I let go of everything. Fear, guilt, shame. Just for that night, I let someone remind me I was alive. Afterward, we didn't speak right away. I lay beside him, staring at the ceiling, chest rising and falling like waves. I wasn't supposed to do this, I said, voice barely above a whisper. I know, he replied. Silence. But I'm not sorry, he added. And I realized neither was I. That terrified me more than anything else. I went home after midnight. Gideon was asleep. The house smelled like our usual lavender diffuser.
Calm.
Peaceful. Like nothing had changed. But everything had. I stood in the doorway of our bedroom and watched him sleep. And all I could think was, what have I done? The morning after doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with silence. With guilt that clings to your skin like a second layer. But what no one tells you is sometimes that guilt mixes with something worse.
Desire.
The sun rose like any other day, but I didn't feel like the same person. I stared at myself in the mirror. My hair tangled, the faintest mark on my collarbone from where Marcus kissed me. A mark Gideon would never notice. He never noticed anything anymore. I washed it away, but something inside me had already changed. And I couldn't scrub that off no matter how hard I tried. That morning at breakfast, Gideon sat across from me like nothing had happened. He drank his black coffee, scrolled through his phone, and mumbled something about a work call. I nodded. I smiled. I wanted him to ask if I was okay. I wanted him to see me, but he didn't. And I realized he hadn't truly seen me in years. Marcus didn't text the next day, or the day after. At first, I felt relief. Maybe it would fade. Maybe it was just one night, and life would go back to normal. But normal suddenly felt unbearable. Then on the third day, just as I was folding towels upstairs, I got a message. I can't stop thinking about you. I know we said one night, but that wasn't nothing. Tell me I'm wrong. I should have deleted it. I didn't. Instead, I stared at the screen until the words blurred. My hands shook again, and I hated how much I wanted to reply. But I didn't. Not yet. 2 days passed, and then something I never expected happened. My sister, Claire, called. She never called in the morning. I saw you, she said flatly. I blinked. What? At the Marriott downtown. Last week. I was having lunch across the street. You were with a man who wasn't your husband. I froze. Silence. I didn't want to believe it, Lauren, she whispered.
But I saw you.
I couldn't speak.
She didn't yell.
She didn't shame me. She just said one thing that shattered me. Does Gideon know who you are now? Then she hung up. That night, I sat on the porch while Gideon was inside with Olivia. She was giggling about a school story, and he was half listening, nodding along. I felt like I was outside a glass house, looking in, watching a life that used to be mine. And I finally replied to Marcus. You're not wrong. We met again 2 days later. It wasn't about sex. It was about escape. We sat in his car and talked for hours. About nothing. About everything. He told me about his divorce. About the loneliness. About how he hadn't let himself feel anything real in years. Until me. I told him about Gideon. About how it all felt so robotic now. How sometimes I just wanted someone to listen, to look me in the eye, and ask how I was doing. And then he said it. What if this isn't just about a night? What if it's more? I drove home that evening in a fog. I didn't want to leave my marriage. But I didn't want to stay in it like this either. I was living 2 lives. And I didn't know which one felt more like me. That night, Gideon reached for me in bed. The first time in months. And I froze. I let him kiss me. Let him touch me. But my body was a stranger. My mind was somewhere else. He didn't notice. When he was done, he rolled over and fell asleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling again. The same ceiling I'd stared at the night after Marcus. And I felt something new now.
Fear.
Because this wasn't just about a night anymore. It was a door I couldn't close. And something dark was slipping through. Secrets don't stay buried. They live in the corners of your home. In glances that last too long. In questions no one dares to ask, until they scream. The week began quietly. Too quietly. I started checking the front door twice before leaving. Looking over my shoulder. Triple-checking my messages. The thrill was gone. Replaced by something tighter, colder. Marcus wanted more. He started calling late at night, leaving voicemails that I deleted before even listening fully. He wasn't reckless, but he was emotional. And I was losing control. One night, I walked into the kitchen and found Gideon staring at my phone. He didn't say a word, just handed it back. His face unreadable. That same weekend, Gideon's sister, Hannah, came over with her usual firecracker energy. She was blunt, smart, and far too observant. She poured herself coffee, looked at me, and said, "You're acting weird." I blinked. "Excuse me? Don't play dumb. You're twitchy." Like you're afraid someone's gonna jump out and catch you. She sipped her drink. I don't care what it is, but whatever it is, you better get a grip before Gideon figures it out. I laughed nervously. There's nothing going on.
She leaned in.
Secrets rot, Lauren. And they rot fast. That night, I told Marcus we needed to stop. His voice was quiet. Too late. What do you mean? I mean, I already told my brother about us. I stood still. What? He sighed. I didn't say your name, but he knows something. He's a friend of your husband. They golf together. My stomach turned to stone. Gideon had been acting different, but what if it wasn't in my head? 2 days later, Gideon confronted me. Not with rage, not with fists, but with the most terrifying thing of all.
Come.
I know, he said, standing in the doorway of our bedroom. I've known. I didn't speak. I didn't want to believe it. But I saw you. With him. In the parking lot outside the hardware store 2 weeks ago. My breath caught. I was going to say something. But then I thought, maybe I deserved it. Maybe I haven't been enough. His voice cracked. But I never thought you'd lie to my face for this long. I cried. I told him it was just a moment. Just one night. But he knew better.
He left the room.
And I didn't know if he'd come back. For 2 nights, Gideon didn't sleep in our bed. Claire stopped by uninvited and told me I needed to get my head on straight or prepare to lose everything. You have a child, Lauren. A husband. A family. You think this ends with a dramatic kiss and riding off into the sunset. She looked disgusted. This ends in lawyers, broken homes, and trust that'll never be repaired. I sat on the porch after she left, replaying it all in my mind. How something that began with a lonely heart had spiraled into a ruin I couldn't undo. The next morning, Gideon sat me down, his voice cold, measured. We're going to counseling, he said. I blinked. You still want this? I don't know what I want, he replied. But I know what I don't. I don't want to be lied to anymore. He stood up. And if I see him again, it's over. The last message I got from Marcus came 2 days later. Tell me this meant something to you.
I stared at it for a long time.
Then I deleted it. No reply.
No bien.
Because some stories burn too hot, and if you keep touching the flame, you lose more than your marriage. You lose yourself. You never forget the person who breaks you. But sometimes, the hardest thing is forgiving the one in the mirror. 3 months passed. 3 long, heavy months. Gideon and I were still under the same roof, but everything between us felt suspended. Like we were 2 people holding our breath underwater, waiting to see who'd surface first. Counseling was tense. At times, unbearable. Our therapist, Dr. Raymond, often said, "This won't be about saving what you had. It'll be about deciding what you can live with now." Gideon wanted honesty. But every time I opened my mouth, I could feel how much damage the truth had already done. One morning, while dropping Emily off at school, I saw Marcus's truck parked on the other side of the lot.
He didn't approach me.
He didn't wave. But the look in his eyes said more than words ever could. Regret. Bitterness. A hint of pride. And somewhere deep in that stare, a truth I couldn't face.
He still wanted me.
And I couldn't even allow myself to want him anymore. Later that week, Gideon and I had our hardest session yet. I feel like I'm sleeping beside a stranger, he said. I can't stop picturing you with him. I looked down at my hands. I know. You loved him. Silence. I don't know if it was love, I whispered. But it wasn't just a night. Gideon's face darkened, and for the first time, I saw what breaking looked like on a man. He didn't yell. He didn't storm out. He simply said, "Then we're not fixing anything. We're just pretending." That night, he slept on the couch again. Emily asked why Daddy was sad. I told her, sometimes grown-ups go through storms, but we always try to find the sunshine again. I was lying again, but this time for her. Weeks later, I found a letter in my pillowcase. Gideon's handwriting. "Lauren, I don't know if I can ever fully trust you again, but I also don't know how to stop loving you. That's the problem. Maybe love isn't always soft and sweet. Sometimes it's jagged and bruised. If you want this, truly want it, then we rebuild, brick by brick. But if you have any part of you still stuck in that other world, I can't compete. I won't. You choose.
Us.
Or him.
This ends now.
I cried until morning. Then I called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. I can't do this anymore, I said. There was silence. I figured, he finally muttered. I need to try and fix what I broke, I said.
He sighed.
You never broke me, Lauren. But I always knew I wasn't going to be here forever. And just like that, that chapter closed. I poured myself into healing. Not perfection. Not pretending. Just raw, gritty healing. Some days Gideon and I laughed again. Some days we didn't speak. But he stayed. And I stayed. Because love, real love, is sometimes born after the fire. It doesn't always look like romance. Sometimes, it looks like hard work and late-night tears on the floor and a hand that still reaches for yours even when it's shaking. Today, Gideon and I are still together. Not because I deserve him, but because he chose to see more in me than just my mistake. Because we learned that marriage isn't about never falling. It's about deciding who you want to get back up with. Thank you to all my subscribers for going on this emotional journey. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications to get more raw, real, and unforgettable stories every week.